Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the WCW Saturday Night Review Series. We got about at least 20 more of these to go before we need to move on to something different. Johnny B. Bad and the Paul Roma will be here. This is the January 7th, 1995 edition. There's the confrontation from Starrcade just a few weeks before with Hulk Hogan and Vader. Also, the Boss or the Guardian Angel at the time versus an enhancement talent who jumps him from behind from the beginning. I believe it's actually Bob Starr, but a kick to the face by the Boss slash Guardian Angel is here. Wraps him up in his jacket and kind of goes right at him pretty aggressively there. Side big boot and sidewalk slam gives him a victory relatively quickly. He promises to bring law and order to the area. Also hits a spine buster in the middle of the match. Very basic match. Frustrating that I don't think Big Bubba Rogers ever got his due in WCW at the time. He's here for a couple of years, but it doesn't really go that well for him. Barry Houston against the Blacktop Bully is up next. Punch kick, very basic thing. Blacktop Bully, basically a truck driver who's gone rogue. Bailed out of jail by Colonel Robert Parker. Parker has Ming in his stable as well at the time. Not a real big match. Ming, of course, is the bodyguard, but just basically doing the old kind of smash stick. Actually, by this point, Blacktop Bully gimmick, probably the best of his days are behind him. Basically gets a choke out and a victory there. Sister Sherry, a.k.a. Sherry Martel, alongside Harlem Heat in the benefit of a tag team match here. The Sister Sherry character is pretty defined. Scott and Steve Armstrong, I believe it's Scott and Steve Armstrong, the Armstrongs is how it's portrayed, are here. Harlem Heat goes to work on their arm pretty succinctly. I wouldn't say aggressively, but basically they battle over arm bars and arm locks and the like basic stuff. One of the Armstrongs tries to go underneath and Irish whip. Big satellite head scissors takeover by Steve Armstrong, and again, not a bad match by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, it's filler in the sense that I don't think anybody who's watching believes the Armstrongs are going to win the match, and if you don't have at least some plausible deniability of, hey, this guy could win or not, it's a pretty big deal. Armstrongs get sent to the outside. Sherry comes in and does a momentary distraction. Sidewalk slam, among other things, by Harlem Heat, showing their power and dominance. They are continuing to be as aggressive as they can possibly be. Harlem Hangover for the victory. Sister Sherry introduces herself and promises that her team is going to become the tag team champions eventually. And the tag team champions of the moment, the team of Stars and Stripes, the Patriot and Marcus Alexander Bagwell, All-American Tag Team at this point, which I understand on a Southern Wrestling program. I don't necessarily understand the benefit of doing that in 1995 on a national level program. But the State Patrol are their adversaries. Real basic stuff. Bagwell, by this point, coming into his own a bit and having his own arsenal, backdrop, drop kick, basic stuff, but kind of over the nervousness that had plagued him the last couple of years. Tag off to the Patriot. Patriot, of course, Del Wilkes. Have had him on the YouTube channel here, actually, an old podcast I used to do that's been uploaded here. One of the 14 interviews we've done. We're going to bring interviews back in the fall, I hope, once wrestling is back and independent talent needs to promote things. In any event, obviously, the team of the Patriot and Bagwell are victorious, but cut off in the ring. Obviously, the concept of Harlem Heat and the team of everybody there, and then of course the Nasty Boys run in to make a save when Harlem Heat tries to interfere. Nasty Boys going after Harlem Heat, and that feud carries on for several years. Nasty Boys have an enhancement talent match. cut off by one of the enhancement talent, punch kick by Knobs and Sags. Super simple match. Tag team heavy episode this week. Actually, Bob Starr in this one. Splash in the corner by Brian Knobs. Nothing to necessarily write home about, but it's a very basic deal. And then we see a recap of some of the Starrcade per-view and the loss by Brutus Beefcake. Hogan saved by Randy Savage. Obviously, we'll cover the whole match when we do Starrcade 94's review someday at some point. Probably when it's put up on the Peacock Network. Anyway, we move to the main event after that highlight package. The main event, Television Championship, Johnny Bad versus Paul Roma. Roma has been part of Pretty Wonderful for a while. Arm bars and the like by Johnny B. Bad. Cut off by Roma, who takes a good bit of punishment for the last little while. Shots into the buckles and all of that. Cut off there, and again, crossbody by B-Bad along the way here. Johnny B-Bad has been pushed pretty well, remains with the company till early 96. For the majority of the time, U.S. champion and television champions where he's at. 3/4 roll up and a 1-2-3 and a win for Johnny B. Bad. Interesting that Hogan and Savage end up with a interview segment at the end of almost every segment at this point. They talk about wanting to get rid of Vader, talk about wanting to get rid of the Dungeon of Doom, and all other nasty heels. That is where we are for this particular episode. We'll be back with more right after this.